we could jump into Scott and Liam and Heather's presentation of what's going on up at North Pole High School. So, Brett, do you want to introduce yourself to the group since you're first on my screen?
Yeah. I'm Brett. I'm a shift lead here at Elastic Cedar Chains, located in Midtown Anchorage. And that is me. I'll pass it on to Max.
Thanks, Brett. My name's Max. Living over on Kodiak and helping out our network of farms that we have in the Kodiak archipelago region. So we got 5 different farms around the region and get to support them with all their different farming efforts, hydroponics, soil, and some mariculture too. And we can pop it over to Joe, who I get to work with.
Hi, my name's Joe Kewen. I work alongside with Max Lyons. I'm the Sustainable Food Systems Technician for the project. I'll be helping him teach people how to grow hydroponics. And I'm glad to be here and meet everybody.
All right. And Otter, do you want to introduce yourself? Okay. We'll come back. Let's get our group in North Pole to introduce themselves.
Hi.
So you should be okay.
Today we will be giving a
No, just introduce yourself first.
Oh, my name is Liam. I'm a junior at North Pole High School. I'm currently running the hydroponics at North Pole High School. Yeah.
I'm Heather Bogardis. I'm a teacher here at North Pole High School. I'm Liam's assistant. He's in charge.
I love it. And we have
And
Scott.
I'm Scott Faulkner from Fairbanks Soil and Water, and I'm out here helping out getting their system set up today.
All right.
Heather,
right,
do
well-
you live in Kodiak? Or no?
Heather, he wants to know if you lived in Kodiak.
Yes, I was on Kodiak for 9 years.
No, I think, do you work with Sam out in Larson Bay?
Yep. And then I was in Old Harbor
That's great.
when
Yeah,
you
I've heard
first
your name
started
a
with
bunch.
Nick.
Yeah, exactly. So good to see you.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I love it.
And Melissa Otter is a note taker. So I don't
Oh,
think
it's just a note taker. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure
That's
it
why they
out.
need
Now
this
I feel
for-
like an idiot.
Oh, good.
That's good. Oh, I love it. And that's a note taker for you guys or for me? Did I do that? Huh?
I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Oh.
It's new to me. I wonder if oh, okay. I see it. AI note taker. Okay. Nope. They're just gonna give us a recap of what's going on when we're done. So that's awesome. Okay. So I'm gonna hand it over to you folks in North Pole for giving us the presentation, and then we'll do a round robin of what cool things going on in our communities.
Okay, well, we're going to let Liam take over the lead here on this as soon as I figure out how to switch my camera around. Here we go. I got it. It's that button right there.
Okay, so out of our facilities, we have one room completely set up. We're working on putting in the bearings for the tubs, so we're able to get water into them so far. This is one of our rooms in our science maze. It's very loud because all of our aerators are currently vibrating the metal shelves. But as you walk in, we have our biological composter and our 3 shelves with 2 tubs on each of them, which I think will be having about 100 heads of lettuce in each tub in about 8-9 weeks. Over here we have our shelving unit where we have basic microgreens, which will be feeding our compost units. And then we have bib lettuce currently going and Genovese basil.
Are you starting all your seeds hydroponically?
We are storing all of our seeds in bare water, and then I would like to look into what the effects of adding fertilizer to the water that you add to the seeds and then seeing what the compost fertilizer does on top of carbon fertilizer.
What do you have going on over here?
Over here, we have our degassing tanks. So water in North Pole is very chlorinated for a multitude of reasons. So it takes about 2 days for us to degas all of our water before we're able to use it in our system so it doesn't kill the biologicals.
Do you want to go here with that?
Over here is kind of my little micro station where I'm able to put in slides of my biologicals into my microscope and look at all the different biological life under the scope. We have minimal at the moment, but we're working to feed our compost tea so we can maximize biological phosphorus. Then the whole shelving unit behind it.
Liam, what's the Ninja for? Do you do your smoothies here?
This is where we do our smoothies, where we put all of our produce in, so we're able to feed our biological tea. Right now, I've fed the tea lettuce, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and carrots, and all of it has pretty effectively. The Brussels sprouts made the compost tea a little bit more smellier than I would have preferred, but what I'm dealing with right now. The blender is made to grind up and make kind of like practically a smoothie, just a water and produce combination. And yeah.
Liam, could you share, so from what I understand, the biologicals you're using are soil-based biologicals. Can you show them the products we're using here to use in the bioreactor?
We are using a great white cream mycorrhizae fungal additive, and then we're using Azos beneficial bacteria to add to it.
And if I remember, both of those have fungi and bacteria, beneficial bacteria in both of those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So within our compost tea, it's about 15 gallons of water with about a tablespoon of each of these additives within the water. It brews for about 2 weeks with the produce smoothie mixture. And then after that, we're able to use it in our hydroponics.
Okay, I'm going to show the air pump up here. So does this air pump stay on all the time, or do you cycle it?
It stays on 24/7, and it's quite annoying because it will vibrate the metal shelving units and make a horrible noise the second it goes on any piece of.
Sounds. Yeah.
So this is one of our 3 rooms currently. One room is being set up. It doesn't have lights in it quite yet. All the lights in this room are fully set up. They're not on timers yet, but they're wired and put into the wall. It's the second I turn them on, though, it gets to about 85 degrees in here. So
let's talk to them about the kind. So is this what kind of hydroponics is this?
this is river hydroponics.
Yeah.
So it's a recirculating deep water culture.
So can you show them maybe how it's going to work? Kind of illustrate your hands there, however.
So this water will always stay a pretty solid level. It will recirculate down to the bottom. Then once it gets to a certain level, it'll recirculate back up to the top, where we're kept in a continuous cycle, where the water is constantly aerated with both the circulating movement of the pump as well as airstone.
Yeah. Okay, and then what are you going to make your mat? They're not seeing the mats yet. So what are your floating mats? What are you going to make those out of?
We're making floating mats out of foam board where we're drilling holes in them and then inserting net pods with our medium, which will be rock wool. And I would like to experiment with different kinds of medium. Rock wool is just the one that's the cheapest and you can get in largest quantities besides cocoa core sometimes. But cocoa core can have negative effects sometimes with what I've researched with compost tea in terms of being able to host negative bacteria, which will harm your positive bacteria.
Yep.
So I believe each board will have about 50 to 100 net pods worth of material. I want to do one room entirely for herbs such as basil, cilantro. So that room smells really nice compared to this room with the compost tea. I mean, honestly, the compost tea, in my opinion, sometimes it's a little bit more off-putting, but it smells like fresh soil. It smells like what you would expect out of compost. So this room, I'm planning for mainly lettuce harvest. Our lettuce harvest will be going to who is ever willing to pay for it. So, and then 10% of that we're looking at putting into our food insecure kids in the school. So giving away 10% of our harvest to our local pantry here at North High School.
If we just, does anyone have questions at this point?
You said there is soil in the compost tea as well as the additives.
The biology has been extracted from the soil. However, you can put soil directly in and let the bioreactor will do the separation of the biology, and then the soil, just the remaining organic material, just decomposes in the system. So you can do either one. You can do a commercially already extracted biology, or you can literally put soil directly into the bioreactor, the biologically active soil, that is.
It's just a little bit more difficult to get biologically active soil in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Makes
So for consistency's sake, the commercial products help a lot.
Okay. And are you guys growing plants in that lower unit as well? It looks like the lower
Yeah.
section. Cool.
Yes, there's another exact setup down below. And there's a pump that sits in the bottom, will sit in the bottom one and pumps up to the top one. And then the only two holes in the tubs are these two down here, and those are the drain lines that go back down. So it constantly circulates from the far end up to the far end in the top tray, comes down here, drains out these two, and drains back down to the bottom. It stays in a constant flow that way. And then it has air introduced to it in each of the tubs. So there'll be 4 air stones in that system, 2 in the bottom, 2 in the top,
Okay.
that are blowing all the time. Always in circulation, always air moving in it. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to talk about the lights. So Liam has set up here with four fixtures on each one of the tubs, and I believe they're 42-watt Barina, 6,500 Kelvin lights in each one of them. So Mel and I have been able to use these lights a lot. We really like them. They're inexpensive. They run about $15 to $16 a unit for each of these light fixtures. And we've literally, in the several years we've been using them, we've never had one fail or sections of it fail like some LEDs will do. These will stay on, or at least Liam's at he's free to test, but we typically run, when we're growing a veg cycle, with the lettuce, is a 12 on and 12 off cycle with the lights. And these are really nice lights, since we don't have to have full spectrum, since we're not flowering or fruiting. They're nice to, they're kind of like the happy light zone for us. So you can have these around people and not have to turn them off when people are around.
Well, they are full spectrum, but they're not fruiting and flowering lights, which
Yeah,
do
very
have
good.
that a higher on the red, could be redness, and
It's
it's
not
hard
worth
to
our
like
eyes
that.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not hard, but they work for it. It just they're not specifically designed for that. Oh.
So this system, if you wonder why we're doing some of the things we are, the rack is from Costco. You can get this exact same rack or similar rack to it at Home Depot or Lowe's, locally sourced. The tubs, Sportsman's Warehouse. I'm sure that you could get them at Century Hardware or other places. I'm speaking for Fairbanks here, and also other main hubs in Alaska. Everything, as much as we can, we're getting local, so that it's easily anyone can go get it, or off of Amazon, and nothing is specific to a company where you can only source it through them. And this system's also designed for teachers and schools, so that it's very low maintenance. This system can go for a week. It's even went for 2 weeks in a couple schools we have these in, without any maintenance, and it does fine. Water levels obviously drop. If it's finishing out plants, it's going to use water more rapidly. But if you plant right before a 2-week cycle, it will easily run for 2 weeks without any maintenance or attention to it. And that's why this system, if you're wondering. Oh, let's talk about nutrition. So why the compost tea? And number one issue is in the last year in Alaska, especially, I'm sure other places, that synthetic salt-based fertilizers have gotten expensive and also hard to get and hard to ship. In some cases, won't ship at all for us in small quantity. So then we're forced to have a middleman here in Alaska to buy off of, and then it really bumps the price up. And availability, especially when you start going into villages, becomes difficult because it doesn't ship that easily, even out to the villages. So what happens here is what we're doing is simulating what's happening in the woods, is that the biology is providing several things. Number one, it's making the nutrients that we will give it and the nutrients that it actually has in it more available to the plant. So the plant's able to communicate easier with the biology than it is just putting in synthetic fertilizer. It just doesn't utilize all of it otherwise. So that helps there. It protects the plant. So we don't have a sterile environment in here. Liam can bring all of his buddies in here and they can have a great time and they don't wash their hands and breathe on things. And the plants are going to be fine because they have that natural protection of the biology. Furthermore, the requirements of the synthetic, it's not going to totally eliminate. This is not a fertilizer, and you can't think of it that way. This is, it does have a fertilizer nature, but what it's doing is reducing the amount of fertilizer that we need to use. So a product that I recommend I've used successfully is MaxiGrow from General Hydroponics. It's very consistent, and that's the reason I like this, and it grows lettuce and veg cycle really well. And he'll be using that here. So, but here's the cool part about it is Liam's going to read the label there and what it recommends to use in a hydroponic system, and he's going to slash it by 80%. He's going to slash it by 80%. And his plants are going to do great. That's what this is bringing to the game. Is we're now able to see the true potential of fertilizer. And I don't recommend buying liquid fertilizers. You're just buying someone else's water. Mixing and you're able to control things a lot more with the dry anyhow. And plants use different amounts of nutrients at different cycles. It's nice to balance things out because he'll have things at different stages in here. If he wants to move things around where he has like starting plants, intermediate plants, and then the final couple weeks. So, you know, so 2 weeks in speaking of lettuce here, 2 weeks in the nursery, and then he has about 4 weeks after that. So if he wants to move things in cycles around, or if he just wants to finish them out in each tub, that's fine. But he could cater to the plants at their different cycles in these different groups by moving them around, because that final cycle, miniature romaine will take on amounts of, will take on a much stronger nutrient mix than any others. I've tried to run, we have the towers as well. And I've tried to use that final cycle mix with tomato plants in there, and it'll roast a tomato plant, whereas the lettuce will thrive in it. So finding a happy balance is a great spot, really.
Using the beneficial bacteria is one of the reasons why it takes a lot less synthetic fertilizer, because having the beneficial bacteria in it helps the plant absorb the nutrients in a lot more effective way. So when you're using synthetic fertilizer without beneficial bacteria, you end up actually wasting a lot of fertilizer and having a super concentrated solution when you wouldn't need it typically.
Another great benefit is you can throw away your pH meters and your ppm meters, because again, who goes out in the woods and checks the pH and checks the ppms in the woods? This is the balancing agent of the woods. So unless you have a radical ingredient you're putting in, that pH balance will happen in the rhizosphere of the plant when the beneficial bacteria is there. So you're going to find that it's right on spot almost every time once things get balanced out in your system. You won't be having to add additives unless, again, you have a really, really strong ingredient you're putting in and your water source is unknown. So I recommend using a consistent water source that you know about. And he's using the city water from North Pole. We use the city water in Fairbanks. Very well, very consistent, very well known. And we're able to not add anything to it to get the pH exactly where we want it. As far as ppms, if you're a big ppm policeman, you don't have to worry about that either. The system will balance that out. Either the plants will tell you if you're loading them too heavy. You'll start getting into dark greens, at least in the varieties I'm working with. It's different in different plants. And you'll know that you're loading them too much. And then as simple as thinning out your next water you're adding just fresh water. back to it and thinning it back out, or having to take some away if you really overloaded it. I was actually driving something else there. Yeah. Maintenance. Oh yeah, maintenance. That's right. So the beneficial bacteria also consume the small amount of salt that's in there. So if you're into conventional hydroponics, you're used to dumping your water every once in a while because you get the salt buildup. The plants aren't using that. The beneficial bacteria will consume the small amount of salt that's in the system here. Last year at one of our schools, I ran a system. We didn't dump the water the entire school year, and we were still at the same finish rates at the end of the school year as we were at the beginning, using the same base water and continually adding to it throughout the school year with more of the bioreactor solution and nutrients, commercial nutrients. So that was pretty cool to see. I thought for sure it would slow it down through the year, but it didn't. And then we ultimately dumped it to clean the system out. So what about algae in the system is, so we teach people not to freak out over algae. It's not going to slow rates until it really probably gets out of hand. But the more you expose water into the light and all, the more algae growth you're going to get. So when we build the floating rafts in here, we will try to have them as tight as we can in the system so that there's least amount of light exposure to the water. The sides of the floating mats like to grow algae because they do have light exposure and do get wet. So you do get some there, but it's not detrimental to the plants or to the solution. It's just stealing from your nutrients, honestly, is all it's doing. So, once a year clean out is a healthy clean out, but, sometimes we may need to clean it out more often and refine our system. So Liam is firing up his, I think he took a sample of the bioreactor right now. The phone will look into the microscope. I've done it before, so maybe we can try that if he gets some, you got some activity?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna try this. We're gonna try to take you into the microscope here. This is doable, but maybe not by me. Oh, there we go. Did you guys, oh man, I had it, Liam. Let's get back here. There we go, there we go, there we go. How are we doing? Are we able to see anything?
I'm seeing things moving around for sure.
Yeah, there you go. So this is, Liam's got in here. We're probably looking at bacteria and fungi in there. If they're elongated, they're probably more fungi family. I'm not able to see real well. My little screen is about a ½ inch wide that I'm looking at right now. So yeah, thanks for putting this in.
No,
Yeah,
that's
pretty cool.
great.
So hopefully everybody's able to see that. Yeah,
There's
so
some fast little dudes in there.
that was one thing that we recommend all of our people who run the bioreactors, especially with students, is to set up a microscope and do regular checks on it to see what's going on. And, while we can't identify the different strains of bacteria and fungi, we can identify the good guys from the bad guys by their different shapes and their movements to know what we got in there if things are going bad. But the big thing about all of this system is keeping water moving and keeping water aerated. So we don't want to get into a where we don't have oxygen available to the system. So when water needs to move, water needs to have a high concentration or a concentration of dissolved oxygen in it. That will keep your system healthy, and it can sit for days and days and days and be healthy. Mel, where are we at? What else? What did we forget?
You covered quite a lot. Does anybody have questions? Is my question. I want to put my screen back on full. Yeah. Anybody have questions or ideas or thoughts? Hopefully you guys down in Kodiak I know you talked about getting started on some of these biological fertilizers. Do you guys, hopefully this is inspiring for you. It's not hard to do. And Scott's willing to chat. I think Liam could give you some good advice if you guys are interested in trying it.
I want you to know this isn't Liam's first try. This isn't like he's just jumping into this for the first time. He's been, for the last two years, has been doing hydroponics. If you've seen Mel's smaller towers and large towers that we've messed with at Soil and Water, those are the towers he's been using here successfully.
Yeah. I gave them to a teacher there a couple years ago, and then she went off to Japan and they got repurposed for the kids to use, which is in a different situation. But I was so excited that to know they were getting used, and this is awesome. Liam's gonna come and give presentations for our upcoming farm forum, and it's pretty exciting.
Do you think there'd be any issues using this type of solution, like a nutrient film technique system? A lot of our communities
Oh.
have UT systems.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can clog up the pipes,
Yep. Yeah. So
especially with some of the excess stuff that's left over in the nutrient solution.
yeah, nutrient film technique has a couple issues with using biologicals. The one is healthier plants. So you have healthier root systems on the plants with the fungi going in there. And sometimes if you don't have overcapacity in or enough angle on your nutrient film technique, the larger root systems will plug. You know, if you're using like a Crop King 4.5-inch channel, if the plants can actually get excessive enough to plug those. Or on the output of them, I've literally had to take the caps off the bases of them and not use like that small 1/2-inch or 3/4-inch port at the end of the tray because it's just the roots are too much. Then you'll end up getting root growth in the pumps too, and it gets exciting. So it does cause a little more maintenance for nutrient film technique, like what Liam was saying. It's doable, and it still has the same effect with the plants.
And you did it at FE for their, they had an NFT system there going for a
Yes.
long time.
Yep.
It did occasionally blow off the hoses.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Water went
Yeah.
on the floor, but it got to the point where it wasn't doing that as much because you had the system dialed in. But
Yeah, but still, yeah. Yeah, NFT is a great system. It's just a lot more maintenance for teachers, and that's why we went to this system. Why we went to deep water culture is so that they can leave it over the weekends and not worry about a line coming off. Literally, there's no lines to come off in this. And we build the system so that the 2 holes we do drill are these 2 right here, the drain line holes. And if the top tray is offset from the bottom one, literally if these drain, they're just going to drain down into the bottom one. That's the only fear in the system. Yeah, and these bulkheads we're using have proved to be never leak. I've never had one leak yet. So not that it won't.
yeah.
And we have, I'm sure Mel shared this with you in the group. Anything that we share from Soil and Water here in Fairbanks is totally accessible to you. We don't hide anything. Any of our sources, pricing, part numbers, whatever, we have it all available to you.
Nothing is proprietary. We want to
Yeah.
share. We want people to use this. That's what we're in this for. So
Yeah,
that's why
everything you're seeing here is available. And I don't know if Mel mentioned where the funding from, how did Liam, he took his mail money or his post, what was it called? Yeah, never mind. That was my joke got ruined. So this is a Senate appropriations, from Senator Murkowski, and she allotted money to the school district, the Fairbanks School District. And this was a portion of it to further enhance hydroponics in the schools here. So Mel, what are we going into 7 new spots in?
Yep,
the
there's 7 spots. One is going to be the actual nutrition services at the district. And then we have 6 schools that are getting systems from, some of them are getting those systems and some are just getting the lettuce grow towers. And we have one tower garden that's going to a school because we wanted to test it, but we decided we like the lettuce grow towers better. But one teacher at one of our elementary schools is going to take that tower garden and make use of it. So we're going to end up with a bunch of teachers going, how come they didn't pick me with this project? But all the schools that are taking these systems are really excited about growing food for their students and their families, as well as for the district itself, because the district is really excited about kids being involved in food production. And that was the whole reason they wrote the grant with us to make this happen. So we want to be an inspiration for all communities throughout Alaska, because this can happen with this. And one of our schools is that's on the chopping block for being cut from the district is actually using this as one of their reasons to buy to stay open, because they're working with the kids on learning how to take care of themselves. They're moving to a homesteading curriculum, and I think they're going to be a really neat example for the rest of Alaska of using hydroponics, but also learning about other parts of taking care of yourself in rural communities.
Phil, I have a couple things. Do we still have a couple more minutes?
Yeah, we
Okay,
do.
I want to talk about the bioreactor. So you see a very specific, a conical induction tank that Liam is using out here, pretty fancy, expensive, and they're hard to get a hold of for some reason. This can be done with a simple 5-gallon bucket, a 30-gallon trash can. The same process can happen. We just need to keep all of our solids in suspension and aerated. As long as we have things in suspension and aerated and moving in our bioreactor, we're good. So most commonly it is done like in a 30 or a 50-gallon trash can or in a big stock tank or something like that. And you'll notice also, so Liam never had the water level as high as it looks like in here. What happened is when he fed his he fed the biology to his ground up plants and his broccoli. Not recommending using broccoli, but it works. You can throw chicken carcasses in here. It will work. It will eat it. But I don't want to be in the same room that it's happening. So it went through a couple different off-gassing cycles as it did that, and that's what you see here. So you never want to fill your bioreactor all the way up, or you'll have a big foamy, big mess the next day on the floor as it begins to react with and start to consume it. So the biology, I always like to say, is like a bunch of teenage guys. So it likes to do a couple things. It likes to eat and it likes to reproduce. So if you're feeding it, it's reproducing. Bacteria will reproduce every 20 minutes. Fungi is a little bit longer. And then, so even if you're using soil, for those of you who are wondering, that may have the protozoa and the nematodes in it. Nematodes will not survive the chaotic nature of the bioreactor, so they get killed out. Protozoa don't survive well because it takes them over 2 weeks to reproduce. So they generally don't make the trail in here. So those get eliminated when you do that, the soil extraction in here. So it's pretty neat. So if you're into using indigenous soils to feed your system and indigenous systems, it's a great way is to use your local soils. There's no soil in the world that hasn't been contaminated that doesn't have biological activity that will work in here. Even sands would theoretically work in here. Sand wouldn't be great in the system, but you could do an extraction from it. Yeah.
Hey, Scott, you want to pull up the airstone so they can see what it looks like, the one that you're using?
Oh, the air stones? There's no air stone in this one. This is all
Oh.
direct injection from the bottom. So this
Oh, okay.
this is the air line coming from that air pump on the top and blowing into the bottom. You want to keep your, if you do piping on a system like this or any of your hydroponics, the less pipes, the less angles you have in your system, the better, because that's just a place to harbor residual from biological residual, and that's not good. So you want to keep simple. Do not complicate your system. Let's see.
So
what
Scott, is that
stones.
string that's hanging in there, is that like a tea bag thing?
Oh, let's take a look at that. Sorry to whiz around with the camera. I know that gives us all headaches. He doesn't have anything on the end of this string, but sometimes I'll leave a thermometer. I'll monitor my temperature in it.
Okay.
He's got a floating thermometer around here. I think I gave him, so you can check the temperatures. But once you get used to it, like I said, with pH and your ppms, once you get a feel for things. So I just use a simple cylindrical airstone for everything. So I think it's a 2x4-inch cylinder. And I buy him like 20 packs. So he has 2 stones in each of his barrels, and then uses a 4-port air pump. You know, these are running this is 8.5 watts that he's running here. 8.5 watts feeding this. So he's literally going to run this entire room, what we figure on one 15 to 20 amp circuit is going to run. Everything in here is going to run on that. And I think that's a pretty good claim for as much as he'll be growing. Yeah. You know, with the advent of LEDs and these low wattage pumps, it's really nice.
Cool.
What else was I going to say? Dude. Yeah, so if you're interested in the making the teas and different ideas there, if I spark some interest in using soils, I'd be happy to talk with anybody on the side. Mel can give you my information, and I can tell you about successful runs we've done with those.
Hermetic pouring.
Yeah, yeah. So we like to the soil-based ones, or literally using soil, I like to call mimetic one tie. So that's simply that mimetic means mimicking, and one tie is a Aborigines word for sandy soil, which represents the kind of soil we have here.
Have you ever fed it tomato or pepper leaves before? Or
I
cucumber?
have, I have. I fed a lot of pepper leaves to it. They were hot pepper leaves, honestly, and it didn't seem to have. It had the same positive effect. It didn't seem to have any negative effect.
Even with all the added nitrogen.
Yeah, yeah. It yeah.
When you-
Unfortunately, yeah. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, growing vine crops, we have a lot of pruning. All of that
Yeah.
would be nice to
Yeah.
recirculate it back in.
Get yourself a Ninja and
Exactly.
Yeah.
zip it up.
And why you're asking why the Ninja? Maybe why not a Vitamix? You know, they're nice, and I love Vitamixes. They do their job great. Here's the Ninja trick. The Ninja cuts the vines better with this shaft it has in it. And Costco has these right now they're under $100. I can't remember exactly how much they were. 1400-watt Ninjas with that nice shaft in it. Does great. And it still is a what is it? It is a blender. So you have to keep, like 90% water, 10% veg in it. So you just have to keep that number down. You can't expect to do miracles. So it takes, probably he ran probably 4 or 5 groups through there to get enough veg to run in here. And it's not an exact science. I kind of have a gram ratio per gallon to put in there. And then Mel has a lesson plan. If you're teaching students or just want to look through the lesson plan on how to make mimetic one tie, that is available on Soil and Water's website.
Under
Which
the
tab?
ag in the classroom.
Under
It's
ag in the
in
classroom.
the ag in the classroom section.
Yeah, and I think it's called soil-based fertilizer or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's in the soil and nutrients section in the ag in the classroom indoor gardening section. And if anyone wants the direct link, I will happily pass it on to you.
So the great thing about Liam doing this here at North Pole is we're letting him showcase this knowledge, which you can go back to Koreans. We're using similar systems, or still are using similar systems where there isn't fertilizer available. So we're not the first to come up with this, but we're trying to refine it and incorporate it with modern knowledge and modern materials and availability.
Yeah. Well, thanks you guys for this great presentation. I'm looking forward to seeing it in the future with full of plants. And I would like to do this again, Liam, if you're willing, when
Yeah.
you've got it fully growing, and give us another little quick update if you're
Yeah, it's like plants to show off.
Yeah, I think it would be great. You're getting there. You're totally getting there. It's been a process for all of us, and I'm really excited about putting this in other schools. So, it's coming along. I would love to hear, because we have about 15 minutes left. Any updates from you guys out in Kodiak, or you down in Anchorage? What's going on? Or if Heather, you want to talk about anything, you are more than welcome to as well. Who would like to share a little? Because like I said, we got a little bit of time. Brett, you got anything going on at Seeds that we would love to hear about?
Not much has changed since last month. We're still battling the aphids, but they're more under control now, which has been nice. I don't think much special has happened. I'm trying to think. Past month, it's been busy. I've had a lot of shifts where I was kind of just here alone, just on standby for customers to come pick up. So it's like kind of always one big ball. I think we're battling the aphids and we got them more under control. Unless Peter here has any updates for the past month. Peter here is our ag specialist.
Hello.
Hi, Peter.
Updates for the past month. I don't know, it's been fairly quiet. We had like lots of greenhouse closures for the holidays and stuff, which was good. But yeah, battling aphids is the main thing.
Under control.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's good.
We actually just started. You guys have way bigger production than we have, but we've been trying to experiment with um essential oil spray with it's mixed with the rosemary oil and some others, and hopefully trying a different approach to this and see, because we thought we cleaned it out and everything was good, but I think they came from where we were starting the plants and brought them back in this room. So um we're but the battle of the aphids continues in our office too, so you guys are not alone. We're testing different methods. Hopefully we'll find the silver bullet to kill them all. Cool. Well, thanks. It was nice to meet you, Peter.
Thanks, meeting you.
All right. Max, any updates and Joe about what you guys are working on?
Not specifically, just trying to get our webinars planned out and locked in with the Cirque Chugach team, and we'll keep you guys updated on that. But yeah, this was a really cool presentation. Look forward to playing around, experimenting. Thank you guys for joining. Doing some cool work up there.
Yep. They are. Joe, any update you want to share?
Not too much. Just been working with Max with the webinars and stuff. We've been working on the second webinar. There's 6 webinars we got to do. The Port Lions Farm, I believe, here where I'm from in Port Lions, I believe they finally got KEA, the electrical company, to come out and do the power extension. So I believe their hydroponic farm has power now. So there's a good update. I'll ask a guy about it here in a little bit. I'll probably go visit him or something. But
Awesome.
as far as I know, they were supposed to come out this week and hook up the power. So yeah.
Hey. Oh, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. Woohoo. Forward motion. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Hey Max, I was thinking I kind of have just been so busy, but I wanted to get back to you about doing the panel for the upcoming Food Policy Council conference. We should chat about that because we really should. Hey Brett, are you gonna go to the Food Policy Council conference, or is Sarah going? I'm wondering.
Sarah's going, but if you could like convince her I'm needed, I can go.
Okay. I think it would be cool to have both of you guys come and sit on that panel if we're gonna do it, but we need to put in a proposal pretty soon, I think. Have you been chatting, Max, with Robbie about that at all? Is
A
she
little bit. We mentioned the idea.
okay?
I know we did one last year too, but we could do a little update from our end or do a broader hydroponics.
I think it would be really good. It would be really cool too if you guys up here in North Pole can't be there, but maybe we can bring you in on Zoom and give a little be part of that panel. You and Liam.
Yeah,
I think it
people
would
who
be really
attend it would be fascinated to see what you guys are doing and hear about it.
yeah. And would you be willing to consider doing that, Heather? It's in March. It's the end of March.
We are trying desperately to fundraise so that I can bring some kids down for that. I'm so excited that it's being held on Kodiak because that's where I kind of started and learned, and now I'm back up here, and I was hoping to bring some FFA kids down there. I wanted to do some village outreach to get some of the kids up here, meeting with some of the kids in Old Harbor and the few kids that are in Larson Bay. And I was going to actually reach out to Max because I wanted, if we are able to come down, we wanted to do some behind the scene tours. I keep bragging to everybody up here about everything that Kodiak's doing.
Maybe you guys could go out to the Port Lions farm when you're in a couple months. Maybe that would be pretty cool.
They're doing 4 shipping containers or 3. I guess they're growing in. So
that is just so cool. I love it. I love it. All right. Heather, do you want to add anything else? Or you good?
No, I'm good. It was nice to kind of listen.
Yeah,
We're really
it's a-
excited. This has been an ongoing process of trying to get hydroponics. I do miss some of the resources that we had available to us in the villages on Kodiak. It's really hard to get access to funding up here. So we were really excited that Scott brought us this opportunity. So
Well, thank Lisa Murkowski. Everybody went. Next time we see her, maybe we can convince her to put more money in different communities to keep this going. I think she's really excited about food security, and actually she's sending one of her staff members to our forum just to get more ideas about ways that she can improve food security in Alaska. So that's great. I'm excited about that. So. All right. Well, I think we can certainly end a little bit early, and I appreciate y'all being here. We are scheduled for our next meeting next month on the 19th of February. Hope y'all can join us. And Heather, if you want, I can put you on the listserv, and whenever you could join in, you're welcome too. It's always this time on the third Wednesday of the month. So I can add you to our listserv. I know Liam's already on it, but I will add you.
I know that I got the information about like the trainings and stuff. So you might have, did you already add me?
I don't know. I'll check.
Yeah.
Because I was
And
adding people
I know you guys
earlier
were
this
talking
morning.
about the so the one for the 9th hasn't been rescheduled yet, but is the one on the 23rd still at the same time?
The whole series is kind of being pushed back right now.
Okay. It's the whole series. Okay.
Well, let her know when as soon as you let me know, I'll send it off to everybody, and then we'll
Yeah,
make sure
hopefully
it
by the end
gets.
of this week or early next week, we'll have those dates.
Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I hope it all goes well. It's a great series, and if it goes well, it would be cool to use it as a model to do more of them and offer them a little bit more statewide. I think it would be really good.
Yeah.
Reach out because there's a lot of interest. It's really we have a new guy up here in Fairbanks who he just finished up doing this sort of environmentally safe laundromat, and I'm going to put that in there because I don't know how safe it is, but he spent a lot of time making it as efficient as possible and with ice to reusing the water and keeping it from contaminating the river and all of this stuff. But he's done with that project and he wants to go into hydroponics. So he came into our office and we're going to be assisting him. He's got a lot of money to put into capital projects like this. So we might end up with a nice big hydroponic farm out of this guy up here. No counting chickens, but I've got my fingers crossed. It would be nice to have that finally up here. But we have fabulous other smaller projects going, which is we don't have any big farms like yours yet, like Seeds Change here yet in Fairbanks, but one of these days we will. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next month.
Good to see you all. Take care.
Bye.